Good morning, everybody. This is Damon Bond of Bond Realty Group, licensed real estate broker in New York and Connecticut. Hope everybody's doing well today. Lately, I've been getting people who I know and associates that I know who are interested in buying a place. So the question came up was this: is there any advantages, or what is the advantages and disadvantages of a single family detached house versus a condominium, right? And I thought that was a very, very excellent question. Now, what I'll do is this: I'm not going to talk about condos in New York City, outside New York City, because I'm like 30% of all housing stock in Manhattan alone are condos. The rest is co-ops. So I'm gonna leave New York City alone for a minute. I'm just talking about, outside the New York City area. So, I'll talk about, the outlying counties, Westchester, Long Island, of course, Fairfield, New Haven counties, and Connecticut. So is there a difference? Well, certainly there's a difference, obviously speaking, but what is the difference? Well, pretty much there are both advantages and disadvantages to buying a single family house versus a condominium. I'll discuss condominiums first, and if I have to, then I'll do another, video of, how to purchase a single family home. But let's start with condos, and I'm going to chime in between the two of them, just make sure I cover everybody's question. And if there's any questions, you can always email me at dbond011@gmail.com, or you give me a call, 203-394-8123, and give me all your comments and questions that you may have. So, condominium. So basically, what is a condominium? Condominium, basically, more or less, to put it in the simplest definition, is where all the unit owners share in certain responsibilities in terms of maintaining the facility. That's what a condominium is. This is one reason why you pay common charges to a condominium. So that's one distinct difference between a single family house and a condo. Condo, there are common charges. Single family house, there are no common charges. What does the common charges cover in a condo? The common charges cover things such as maintenance, right? So you don't have to cut the lawn. It covers maintenance. It covers the exterior of the property. So if your exterior is brick or vinyl siding, that is usually covered by the condo association. It covers, like roof, roof things, anything like that. So basically anything outside of the association is covered. Is anything outside of the condo is covered by the association, more or less. With a single family house, of course, you got to cut your own lawn. You got to take care of your own roof. You got to take care of your own exterior siding. So that's one fundamental difference. Now, the common charges can range for a condo. Ideally, you want obviously low common charges. I've seen common charges as low as $150 a month, and I've seen them as high as $600 a month. We're not going to talk about common charges in the city. Like I said, this is excluding New York City. There's a different world in New York City in terms of condos. So, so that's one fundamental difference, the common charges. Some condos, the common charges have included in them utilities, not all, some. So, for example, in some condos, you don't have to pay a water bill because that's included in your cost. Other condos, you have to pay the water bill. Some condos, heat is included. Others is not. In some condos, electricity is included. Other condos is not. So basically, you just have to find out which one, what do the dues cover? So common charge is was one factor. Another factor between single family house and condos is this. When you buy a single family house, basically, after you sign a contract, we talked about this in my other video, and you go on a contract, right? You go through your inspection, your appraisal, everything's fine. Then, the house is yours. It's not that simple, but you know what I'm saying. With a condo, usually, there's something called a condo resale package or resale document. The condo resale document basically is the vitality of the condo association. It lets you know of any upcoming projects, any special assessments that are imposed. I'm sure people oppose special assessments. And what a special assessment is basically, let's say they have to repair the roof and all the units. Let's say the roofs are 20 years old, they have to repair. That'll be a special assessment. Special assessments are usually short term. So it may be an extra $200 a month, let's say for 5 years, or it may be. So any repairs, if you live in a building, the elevator has to be fixed, you need new elevators, a special assessment may be on that. So special assessment usually is a short term increase in your common charges. Usually after the term is over and the assessment has been paid off, it reverts back to, in some cases, back to its previous fees for the common charges. So that's what the condo resale package is. It lets you know the any fees, any special assessments. It lets you know if the condos is in arrears, meaning is anybody late with their common charges? Because they can take your property away from you, even if you pay your mortgage, even if you pay your taxes. They can take away your property if you're not paying your common charges. So is anybody delinquent with common charges? How much insurance is covered on a building, for the project? So these are basically what it is. It's the vitality. Now, the sooner you order, your attorney rather will order the resale doc, the better it is for you, because you have, by law, you usually have 5 business days from the time of you receive the condo resale doc. You have 5 days to cancel that. So it doesn't matter how far you are in the process. So literally, you could be like towards the last stage of the process, and for whatever reason, your attorney requested this the thing late, the condo resale doc late. You can actually cancel. You can say, listen, I don't go through this or anything like that. You have a right to do that, and yes, you do get your money back. They're not gonna like it, but you get your deposit money back overall. If there's any attorneys out there, just let me know if I'm correct. If I'm not correct, please clarify for me. But yeah, I'm 99% certain of that. So that's why the condo resale package is so imperative. There's a fee associated with it. Usually it's like anywhere between $75 to $150, usually that range for the condo resale package. It lets you know the vitality. So that's another difference between a single family house and purchasing a condominium, is the fact that there's a resale package for condominiums. There's none for a single family house. Another fundamental difference in terms of financing. What you can have an FHA mortgage, and we talked about FHA in my other video series. FHA stands for Federal Housing Administration. The FHA is not a loan. Basically, the government guarantees the loan. Just in case you default on it, they insure it. It'll get paid and what have you. You're still on the hook for it. I mean, you're still in default, but that's a different story. So the FHA allows you to put down 3.5%, all right, for a down payment on the property. Now, here's the thing. With a single family house, provided the house is not derelict, and usually bank-owned properties are derelict, provided the house is not in disarray, you can put 3.5% down and no problem with a single family house. You could do the same thing with a condominium. However, here's the thing. With condominiums, it must be majority owner occupied. In other words, there has to be more owners than renters in the condominium place. There has to be more owners than renters. So usually it's like a 51%, 49% ratio in order to qualify for FHA. That's one hurdle. If it is not more owner occupied compared to renter ratio, then what happens is you have to do a conventional, and you have to kick in more money for that. All right. So that's hurdle number one. Hurdle number two is this: you could have a higher owner to renter ratio, but even with that, it has to be approved by the FHA. So complexes, so your mortgage person could do this. Your mortgage person could check to see if that particular condo association is indeed FHA approved. If it's not, then you can't do an FHA route. That's another difference. I'm going to talk about New York City for a quick minute, but in New York City, usually condominiums have their own required down payment. So even if you qualify for FHA, it doesn't matter. The association can request 10% down. All right, this is a footnote for that. So that's the only time, like I really mentioned, New York City, condominiums. So far for condos, we talked about you need, FHA may not apply to that condo as opposed to single family. We talked about common charges are involved, which is not involved in a single family unless it's a subdivision. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the other thing we just got through talking about, of course, is the maintenance fees. So these are some fundamental differences from the top of my head between condos and single family house. If there's any others, then I'll mention them. So aside from those three important things, pretty much in terms of the buying process and everything is in selling. If you decide to sell your condo or house, they're pretty much similar, more or less. It's those little three major important things. Now, people ask me, what is the rate of return? Which one is better? That's all up to you individually, because with a single family house, listen, if you know you're not handy, if you don't feel like going out, cleaning your gutters out, if you don't feel like going on top of no roof and putting a new roof in, if you don't feel like cutting no lawn every weekend, if it rains a lot where you are, maybe, 3 times a week or 2 times a week, if you're not that, if you're too busy, then probably a single family house is not for you. You probably want to go with a condominium. And one is not better than the other one. It all depends on your lifestyle. For example, with a single family, with a condominium, right? You don't have to worry about those things because those things are taken care of for you. You have to worry about a single family house. Now, a lot of concern with people is this: they don't want to be in a condo because it feels like living in an apartment building, right? Especially if you live in New York and whatnot, you may want to have elbow room. I totally get it, but you know something though. What's the beautiful thing about condominiums is it's like people. They all come in different shapes, sizes, colors, whatever, different styles. Because a lot of people assume a condo is going to be like your ranch-style apartment where, people live above you, below you, next to you. You do have those. Those are very common in New York City. However, though, when you go into the suburbs of New York City, you have condos that are townhouse style. In other words, they're single-family house. And the difference is they're just attached to another unit. So you don't have anybody, above you or below you. You just have neighbors to the side of you. No difference, let's say, from a duplex or an attached single family house. And you have a backyard, all right? You have condominiums where you do have a full basement, right? Finished basement in some cases. You do have condos where the square footage is, pretty average, large, like 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 square feet. You do have condos that have attached garages to them, if that's what you want. So don't be averse to getting condos. Just choose a condo that is good for you. All right. And then, of course, you have, your regular condos, where, you live in is a small little building, 2 or 3 floors, and you have people above you, below you, next to you, whatever it is. So they vary in varying degrees. And also, if you're just starting out and you're priced out from getting a single family house, a condo is the way to go usually. Because remember, you can always move up. And let's say if you live there for a few years, then you decide, okay, I have enough money, I got another job, I got more income, I get that single family house. And then you can sell your condo or, be a landlord and rent it out. So these are some pros and cons of having a condo. Both of them are just good. It all depends who you are. So I recommend, if you're single, or if you're just starting out, small family, condo may be the way to go. All right. So I hope this was helpful to you. This is Damon Bond of Bond Realty Group, LLC, licensed real estate broker in Connecticut, New York. And if you like it on Facebook, please click like. And you can always email me with questions or comments, dbond01@gmail.com, or give a call 203-394-8123. Hope you stay well, be well, enjoy your day. Bye-bye.